The allegations, there's like, like so many rumors. Anything you want to say, we suing. I know that.
Remember that unforgettable moment at the 2022 Oscars when Will Smith shocked the world by slapping comedian Chris Rock on stage? It was one of those jaw-dropping events that instantly became a part of pop culture history. Just when it seemed like the dust was beginning to settle, another twist has emerged, this time involving none other than comedy legend Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy, known for his razor-sharp wit and ability to make people laugh, recently found himself at the center of controversy after poking fun at Will Smith's infamous Oscars incident. While Murphy's jokes usually bring smiles, this time they struck a nerve, particularly with Will Smith. It seems that Smith, still reeling from the fallout of the Oscars slap, wasn't too pleased with being the butt of Murphy's humor. In fact, it appears that Smith feels these jokes are haunting him, tarnishing his reputation, and potentially affecting his career. For someone who has spent decades building an A-list Hollywood career, this latest twist has to sting. So let's dive into the details of this drama, because it's getting crazier by the minutes. First, let's revisit that now iconic moment at the Oscars, the slap heard around the world. It all went down during the 2022 Academy Awards when Chris Rock, on stage to present the award for Best Documentary Feature, decided to crack a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith, Will's wife. Rock compared Jada's shaved head to the look of Demi Moore in the movie G.I. Jane. At first, it seemed like Will Smith found the joke amusing, he even laughed. But Jada was clearly not happy, her eye roll of disapproval said it all. Then, in a surprising turn of events, Will Smith got up from his seat, walked onto the stage, and slapped Chris Rock across the face. The audience, both in the theater and at home, was left in stunned silence, unsure if what they had just witnessed was real or part of a scripted bit. Chris Rock, trying to maintain his composure, simply stated, "Will Smith just smacked me," but from his seat, Will shouted back, "Keep my wife's name out of your mouth," twice, making it clear that this was no joke. What many people may not know is that Jada Pinkett Smith has been open about her struggles with alopecia, an autoimmune condition that causes hair loss. It's a serious and deeply personal issue for the Smith family, which made Chris Rock's joke all the more hurtful in their eyes. Despite the shocking incident, Will Smith remained in the theater, and later that night he won the Oscar for Best Actor for his portrayal of Richard Williams in King Richard. During his acceptance speech, Smith seemed to reflect on the earlier incident, drawing a parallel between himself and Richard Williams, whom he described as a fierce defender of his family. Smith's speech was emotional and heartfelt. He expressed his desire to protect those he loves and acknowledged the pressures and challenges of being in the spotlight. "I feel called upon in my life to love and protect people," Smith said, tears in his eyes. He also shared advice given to him by Denzel Washington moments earlier. "At your highest moment, that's when the devil comes for you." Smith ended his speech with an apology to the Academy and his fellow nominees, though notably not to Chris Rock. As for Chris Rock, he handled the situation with remarkable composure. He didn't file any legal charges against Smith, and for a long time he remained mostly silent about the incident. But when he finally broke his silence, it was on his own terms, through comedy. Nearly a year later, Rock addressed the slap in his Netflix stand-up special, Selective Outrage. He didn't hold back, making it clear that the incident still stung. "People keep asking, did it hurt?" "Heck yeah, it still hurts," Rock quipped, comparing the lingering pain to a constant ringing in his ears. Rock also pointed out the physical difference between himself and Smith, highlighting the absurdity of the situation. "Will Smith is a lot bigger than me. The guy does movies shirtless. Have you ever seen me do a movie without a shirt? Even if I'm getting open heart surgery, I'm wearing a sweater," he joked. Rock also took a subtle dig at Smith's personal life, referencing the much-publicized affair between Jada Pinkett Smith and rapper August Alsina. Through his humor, Rock made it clear that while he was the one who got slapped, he wasn't going to let it define him or play the victim. Jada Pinkett Smith, on the other hand, addressed the incident with a message of healing and understanding on her talk show, Red Table Talk. She expressed her hope that Will and Chris could find a way to reconcile and move forward, emphasizing the need for unity in a divided world. Jada also used the platform to shed light on alopecia, inviting guests who had experienced similar struggles to share their stories. Her approach was one of compassion and empathy. focusing on the bigger picture rather than dwelling on the past. Will Smith, meanwhile, took steps to publicly apologize for his actions. The day after the Oscars, he released a statement on social media calling his behavior unacceptable and inexcusable. A few months later, he posted a YouTube video titled, "It's Been a Minute," where he offered a more detailed apology to Chris Rock and addressed why he didn't apologize during his Oscar acceptance speech. "I was fogged out by that point. It's all fuzzy," Smith admitted, explaining that he had reached out to Rock, but Rock wasn't ready to talk. The Academy didn't take Smith's actions lightly. The Board of Governors for the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences banned Smith from attending any Academy events, including the Oscars, for 10 years. Interestingly, Smith had already resigned from the Academy before the disciplinary action was announced. The Oscars themselves also implemented new measures, including a crisis team to handle any unexpected incidents during future ceremonies. You might think that after all this, Will Smith would be ready to put the whole incident behind him and move on. But the world of Hollywood isn't so forgiving. When the 2023 Oscars rolled around, the infamous slap was still fresh in everyone's minds, and it became the punchline for numerous jokes throughout the night. Comedian and host Jimmy Kimmel didn't hold back in his opening monologue, poking fun at the incident and joking about the increased chances of another on-stage brawl. "We want everyone to feel safe here, especially me," Kimmel quipped, before adding that the Academy now had a crisis team in place, ready to do absolutely nothing if anything went wrong. But Kimmel wasn't the only one to joke about the slap. Eddie Murphy, during an appearance at the Golden Globes, also made a jab at the incident. While it might have been all in good fun, it was clear that Will Smith wasn't amused. According to reports, Smith was quite upset by Murphy's joke, feeling that it was another blow to his already tarnished reputation. Despite Murphy's insistence that it was just a joke, Smith saw it differently, interpreting it as another reminder of the incident that continues to haunt him. When asked backstage if he had spoken to Will Smith or Chris Rock since the Oscars incident, Murphy replied, "No, I haven't, but I love both of them." He reiterated this sentiment in an interview with Entertainment Tonight, saying, "I've worked with Jada. I love Will, and I love Chris, and it's all love." Murphy even revealed that if he had been hosting the Oscars in March, he would have made a joke about the slap, just like Kimmel did. "You have to say something about it," Murphy said. "Then you move on." Despite Murphy's apologies and explanations, Will Smith reportedly felt that the joke had crossed the line. For Smith, it wasn't just about the joke itself, it was about the broader implications for his career and public image. He felt that just as he was trying to move past the incident and rebuild his reputation, Murphy's joke brought it all back into the spotlight. It's a reminder that in Hollywood, even a momentary lapse in judgment can have long-lasting repercussions. Fans, however, had mixed reactions. While some sympathized with Smith, others felt that he needed to direct his anger elsewhere. Will needs to direct his anger at the right person. "No one has embarrassed him more than his wife," one person wrote, referencing the couple's highly publicized marital issues. Others pointed out that as a public figure, Smith should expect comedians to make jokes about him, especially after such a high-profile incident. But it wasn't just Eddie Murphy who took a jab at the situation. In a later sketch on Saturday Night Live, comedians Jared Carmichael and Chris Redd reenacted the slap, with Carmichael playing a seat filler who idolizes Smith and Redd playing Smith himself. The sketch was another example of how the slap had become ingrained in pop culture, with comedians and writers using it as material